Good morning and welcome in another bright, sunny, warm morning here. So do come on and say hello if you're joining me live. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the warm UK. And it's lovely to have you with me if you're joining me live on this Monday morning. If you're joining on catch up, do also pop in a message and say hello. It's lovely to know who's been joining us and where from and what you're up to and all of those sorts of things. So be lovely to hear from you. So as I say, welcome. Let's just introduce myself. And if you've not come across me before, find out a little bit more about me. This is my website, www.loveaduckie.co.uk. And over on my website, you will find all things, let's hide that out of the way, all things pertaining to my little business, whether that is looking for inspiration for your cards and paper crafting projects, whether that's looking for links for my shop, whether that is looking for links to my classes if you are local or local enough to me here in Northamptonshire in the UK to come and join me for a class. There are some classes available through the post if you are elsewhere in the UK. So do go and check those out. And you'll find all sorts of other things over there on my website, including links to sign up for my newsletter and to sign up to be alerted of new blog posts. So that you never miss out on any of that inspiration. So do go and head over there and have a look. And if you're looking for me anywhere on social media, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, just look out for Love-a-Duckie, and that is where you will find me. And it's lovely to have you join along, and do like and follow and share in all of those places as well. Always very grateful for that. And don't forget, we are still during celebration. Where are we? Sort of halfway through August now. We've still got a couple of weeks of celebration left. So if you shop with me, any orders £45 or over, you will earn a free gift of some sort. If you host and have some sort of gathering, get together, place a really big order and generate sales of more than £275, you get an additional free stamp set on top of all your other host rewards. And if you decide to join the Stamping Up family during this month, then you do also get a beautiful, beautiful planner and stamp set and set of notebooks in addition to your freebies that you always get, to the extraordinary value that is always the joining offer. So spend £99, get £130 worth of product of your choice, plus those free goodies because it's celebration. So lots there to celebrate. So let's bring back in my downward facing camera. And I'll add back in my host code. And let's have a look at what we are going to be playing with today. So good morning to Lisa and good morning to Jane, who've joined us. I'm going to bring in my downward facing camera. And what we're going to be playing with today is this Lighthouse Point bundle. So it is a beautiful stamp set with lighthouse and sort of the blobby stamps that you can be using for sea, sand, rocks, sky, clouds, backgrounds, whatever it is that you fancy. You've got those beautiful blobby stamps there. You've got your light beams, you've got your stripes and your main lighthouse in the stamp set. Some great greetings, and you have got some, as you can see here, this white highlighted pieces that highlights the shape of some of the dies in the die set that will cut you out those labels. So yeah, there is the stamp set in real life, and as always, the imagery in the catalogue is life size, if you like. It is the size, the morning Molly, the size that you see in the catalogue is the size that you get in the stamps. And then in addition, we have these fabulous dies. So you've got this lovely big lighthouse, you've got this sort of stripe here with these cut out pieces, you've got your top of your lighthouse, this one cuts out your stamped image, you've got this little bit here that sort of makes you a like a handrail across the top of this lighthouse just here. And you've got a cloud. You've got this extra bit here that will cut you out. Another is a lighthouse. You've got your light beams, clouds, and there are those labels. So lots to play with in that bundle. Lots of fabulous images here, some samples from the Stamping Up design team. So you can see where they've used dies on some, and you can see that handrail across the front here. So you've got the dies on some, you've got just stamps on others, you've got stripy detailing on others. And then if we flick to the back here, there's another little sample just there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a combination of things. So I am going to tie in using this Lighthouse Point bundle with a colour challenge. I thought this colour challenge spoke very nicely to this bundle. So the colour challenge uses Sweet Sorbet, Coastal Cabana and Sahara Sand. And I thought to myself, ooh, that seems interesting. That seems like a set of colours that we could make to work with this stamp set and die. Stamp set and die bundle. I have got my fan on in the background. If it is in any way interfering with your sound and things, do let me know, but it is just keeping the edge off the heat in here this morning. Okay, so where shall we start? Shall we start? I have got some oddments of Sahara sand and things here as well. I'm going to take a piece of Sahara sand. Get to one side. I'm sure we shall be coming back to those. Actually, nothing like changing your mind. I'm going to take a piece of basic white. Then I am going to take this solid lighthouse and the stripy lighthouse. Let's find some blocks. I think H block is going to be just the job. I'm going to bring in a piercing mat because it is quite a big image. So I think if ever you're using a big image like this, you really need something spongy underneath it, just to help. Get a good image. I'm going to start with Sahara Sand. So I could have just stamped this on to some Sahara. I could have stamped the stripes onto some Sahara Sand cardstock and cut it out. But I actually want the white showing through the light pieces at the top where the lights will be showing. So there is our lighthouse. So it's got sort of shading in it almost. It's not absolute solid colour, but that's how the stamp has been designed. So it's not anything to do with the way that you've stamped it. It is to give it that sort of watercolour-y almost effect. I'm going to come in with some Coastal Cabana stripes on the top. So again, they're not solid colour. They give you sort of quite a squiggly sort of look to them. And I'm going to use this die and cut that out. So excuse me 1 minute while I transfer to my cutting emboss. Run that through. And there we have another fun little lighthouse. And to just bring in watercolour pencil here. And let's have a bit of light shining in those upper windows. Now I've also got here some shimmery white cardstock. I think we're going to do a bit of watercolouring on the background in this one. So let's go 13.9 by 9.5. And bring in the medium size water brush. To start with, things crashing onto the floor in the background. I'm just going to lay some water down in the back here. And take some Sahara sand ink. Squeeze it into my lid. Pick that up. And let's add some of that down here. Obviously, it's really quite warm, so it's that water is drying up quite quickly. Actually, I quite like that. Darker and lighter tones in the background. Come in then with this little stamp, I think. And some Coastal Cabana. And let's just with the sea coming up to the shore. Just going to squeeze this block and add quite a bit of water to that because I don't want this to be too dark. Let's add some water in the background here. It won't matter that it's got blue in it because that's the colour we're adding anyway. Let's add in some more Coastal Cabana in the background here just to give the sky a bit of a tint. That won't show up ever so well on camera necessarily, but that has given it a little bit of blue tint in the background there. Got a bit of Sahara sand fingerprint in there. Give that a quick blast, I think. Dry that off. We shall flatten that out a bit more when it comes to adding it to our card base. I'm going to take some embossing budgie, some Versamark. I'm going to take this could use it as rocks. I'm going to use it as clouds. Have one there. One coming in a bit further. I've got some white embossing powder here. We shall now see how dry I've made this. If I made it dry enough. Really good. They make rather excellent clouds. Let's heat that. It doesn't sort of stand out like a sore thumb, but it is just that extra bit of shimmer and shine and texture in the background there. Bring back in our lighthouse. And I'm going to come back in with this a bit of a clean and come back in with this rocks. To add just a bit of texture to that bottom piece. What greeting shall we have? Sending you love and light. Without you, I would be lost. Quite like that one. Without you, I would be lost. Now, I'm assuming that is going to fit inside. Yep, one of these little banners. I'm going to cut the banner out of white, and I'm going to cut this out of sweet sorbet. There's our little banner. I'll pop the bits out of that in a second. That there and that there. Thinking I want to bring in a bit of sweet sorbet into my lighthouse. If we're going to tie it in with our colour challenge. So let's just add a bit of red to the top. And come around to my brush side. And I think perhaps that little bit on the top as well. Let's find a block and ink up this little greeting, get it the right way around. Without you, I would be lost. So let's do that in sweet sorbet as well. Just deciding where that should go. Thinking I might have it there somewhere. And then we'll bring in some sweet sorbet twine as well. Right, let's have a think about how we are going to mat this up. Those to one side for a moment. I quite like that, I think. Or do we want to go? No, I think I want sweet sorbet onto Coastal Cabana. That's the way we're going to do it. Right, let's pop that there just a moment. So let's start with our Coastal Cabana and we'll create a card base with that. So let's cut that in half and score in half. And we'll take our sweet sorbet at 14.4. And we'll swing it round and trim at 10. Okay, I'm going to stick this shimmery white cardstock to the sweet sorbet. Now we're going to need to be fairly generous with the glue because it's got a bit bendy as we have worked with it. Take my big F block and so generous with the glue there. Some of it has squidged out around the edges. Let's just use that. Let's give that a good press down to make sure that has adhered quite nicely there. That's much flatter. To add a little strip of glue down there and pop that on the top so that this stripe just here is coming up there. Let's bring some of this twine and we can use that to cover where that we've got that bit of a Sahara sand blob. Let's come twice round there. Tuck it under the two loops. Sticky fingers. That's it. Bring it to this edge. Bring in. I haven't yet got my Stampin' Up embossing set, but the scissors in there will allow you to do this as well. I'll use those, the tweezers rather, those tweezers, those reverse tweezers, just to hold that still while I have you gone there. Have a play about with that bow. Just hold it in place for me. So the new embossing set in the mini catalogue. Make sure I'm not You've got a tray to gather up your embossing powder. You've got your little embossing buddy there. You've got a brush, and then you've got a pair of, they're much nicer than mine. They're not been around for years and battered, but you've got like these reverse tweezers, which means that you can hold on to a piece of cardstock while you're heat embossing. Great for doing things like bows and things. And the idea is that they are shut until you squeeze them. So rather with normal tweezers, you squeeze them to make them shut. With these ones, they are shut until you squeeze them. You squeeze them to release them. So they're great for holding on to things as you waft them with your heat gun so that you don't burn your fingers. Also great for keeping your knots in place while you fiddle about with bows. So let's just give that a bit more of a fiddle. And I think we'll add that with some dimensionals. So we just need to add dimensionals to this white banner piece because we've stuck the red to the white. And let's have that there. And let's bring in our lighthouse. We'll add some dimensionals to that and decide whereabouts we want that to go. Bring a few of these at the back. Obviously those trays aren't just good for embossing powders. They're great for sort of inching out your pots of sequins so you can dig amongst them to decide which colours you want and all of those sorts of things. Right, so let's then bring this and we will stick this. So our Coastal Cabana front. We will need an insert in this card because it's a coloured card base. So let's cut ourselves a bit of 9.5 by 13.9 basic white. I think I shall just in some of this. So I was saying to put a finger blob in the middle of there. Let's switch that over. All card has two sides, thankfully. And then let's pop that on the inside. Now I'm just thinking I'm going to take the grass from the heron die. And I'm just going to cut Coastal Cabana grasses. quite a few things on this heron set that would work quite nicely. Don't think we've played with this on a live yet. But you've got like these bulrushes and this piece just here that would equally come in useful. No, I think that's a lovely thing about colour challenges, Jane. Jane's not sure that she'd have used these colours together. But I think that's quite a nice thing about colour challenges is it does force you to use some colours you wouldn't otherwise have chosen. Just going to add some of that down there, and I'm just going to, I'll put some glue on the bottom here. So a couple of little spots there. We'll come in and trim this in a minute. And I think I'll also come in with little birds from here. Not used those yet, they're not. This is a red rubber stamp. I think again we'll come in with Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to stick to those colours. We won't add in any further colours. But let's just, oh, over stamped that. I think from a photopolymer to a red rubber. And you don't need to press as hard. Okay. We'll come in with these fine sparkle adhesives. They are actually Pool Party, but I think they go quite nicely with that watercoloured Coastal Cabana. Let's just put a few of those in as well. So there we are. There's one combining stamps and dies. Morning, Elizabeth. We're playing with the Lighthouse Point bundle, but we're combining that with a colour challenge of Coastal Cabana, Sahara Sand, and Sweet Sorbet. So there's one really cute little card. And of course, these are great for if you're looking for something for men's cards as well. And fairly generic, great for the ladies as well, but quite nice for the guys. But I think we're going to have a play with this big die cut lighthouse for our second card. We'll have a slurp of water. So we've got a great big die there. We've got this die that will give us stripes. We've got this die that will give us the top just there. And this one that will give us sort of railings, handrail around the top of the lighthouse just here. So let's think. We're going to stick with these same colours. So rummage around in my bits and bobs box. And I think I'm going to have Sahara Sand on the background. And Sweet Sorbet for the stripes. Come in Coastal Cabana on this top. But perhaps we'll have my little handrail in Sahara sand as well. So let me go and cut those bits out and see what that all looks like when we bring it together. Do some clouds as well, I think. You'll obviously do those in white. Right. Running them through my cutting emboss. Brush. There's that little bit off the top. And a solid lighthouse. And a little handrail piece. Just need some scraps of white on the clouds. There's the stripy bit. One cloud, we'll do a couple more clouds. And a couple more clouds. Yeah, I think that's it. I think they may well, Elizabeth, be hiding. I think you might be right. No birds in the garden today. It is very warm. So let's see which pieces pop out. These ones have just got like in-cut lines in them to give detail. That bit comes out just there. That piece we could lie across there to give us stripy effect. This will sit over the top here to give us a top piece. And this bit just sits across the top here to give this handrail effect. That's nice and bright and cheery. We have some floating clouds as a background. So you can see how quite quickly we've built up a rather fun little lighthouse just there. Clouds on and a handrail. Could have a couple of light beams. I think I'm going to cut those out. Now I will stamp them. So we'll bring in one of the yellowy colours to stamp our beams of light. Let's have a pale higher actually. And let me just die cut those. There we go. Oh, flipped it over. Here's our lighthouse beams. Now I'm actually going to take this little die just here and I'm going to run it through in some pale papaya. Grab a little bit. Just do that. Carefully bring that across because I want the little pop out bits on in there. Stick in the centre. Now this is one of those that hindsight is a wonderful thing. Should have done it in some double-sided. Should have had a double-sided sticky on the back of the dies, but never mind. We didn't. So we'll just go with some Tombow on the back here. To add a bit of glue in each of those. Determined to be throwing things on the floor. Just looking for my sticky ended take a pick tool and can't see it. Never mind. I'm sure we will manage to slip those in there. There's that centre one gone. like that. Let's come in with our Coastal Cabana top. Ooh. Like that. And then our little handrail will come on there like that. How lovely is that? And then we'll have our beams coming out from behind. Let's take a piece of basic white cardstock. I'll come 13, like 9 by 9.5. Let's take a blending brush and Coastal Cabana. Let's come in. And we'll have some sky. I'm going to take a stamp just here. I think we have a slightly bigger block. Let's go to D block. Let's pick up D block. We're going again with Coastal Cabana. Let's have our, if we've got a hair or something on there. Yes. Have our C. And I think we'll take this one that sort of we've used as clouds and as sand and all sorts of things. I'm going to bring that in with some Sahara hat sand. Up another blending brush. Let's pick up some Sahara sand. And let's come in on this bottom just to put down a bit of colour down there. Picking up something like green as well. Never mind. The trouble, you need to make sure you're on a clean spot, else you'll just pick up ink that is sitting on the top. Okay, so we've added in some Sahara sand down there. Now let's come in with our rocky type I'm going to add a bit of, not worried about over stamping because it sort of just will give darker spots, and that will give that all a bit of texture on the bottom there. We'll have this coming in there. And let's pop that up on with some dimensionals, a few slightly bigger ones here. I have to use a bit of a edge piece, but that's okay. Swing it round a bit. Let's have that sitting about there. Stick in those light beams. Oh, damp coast. We do not have any damp here, Emma, not yet. In fact, the thunderstorms that were showing up on my weather app for Wednesday, we were due rain before then, a bit of showers, but they seem to have disappeared as well. But I think it's all going to be a bit hit and miss as to who gets what rain. I'm going to trim those off when I've trim those off once I have put the backing on. I'm going to bring in my Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to go around the edges, not put any more ink on there at this point, of those clouds, just to tone down that white smidge. Put that one in, and that one in. My other cloud has gone walkabouts. The wind has blown it away. There's always something, isn't there, that has to disappear during the course of a live. So if the only thing it is a cloud, then I don't think we will worry too much. Right, we need to decide on our sentiment for this one. We have your light shines brighter than you know. Let's stamp that in Coastal Cabana. Let's have a look. Where is our other banner? Yes, let's cut a bit of that. So we're very appropriate today then, Emma, if you're at the coast, providing you with seaside themed projects. We could have come in with that one and added in. Not really sure that that's going to work for that. Do you know, I don't think that big sentiment is going to work for that. I think change of plan. I think we're going to be madly brave and do Always Here for You in the background there. Shall we have a couple of birds? I think we should. Doesn't seem right having a lighthouse card without a couple of birds, but let's make sure we don't stamp too hard this time. Now, just set this at 10 by 14.4. Stick that on there. Let's come in with some linen thread. Just the nice thing about these tweezers is it gives you two hands to fiddle about with your bow. Snip that off. Just run that through my fingers and straighten that out a little bit. Snip that off. And then I've got a white card base here for this one, I think. I'll take our scissors and trim that so it's no longer sticking over the edge. So two lighthouse cards, both in Sahara Sand, Sweet Sorbet and Coastal Cabana. And this one's got some watercolouring on, a bit of heat embossing with the clouds, and is using the stamps. So the stamped image has been die cut. We've added in some birds and some reeds, grasses from the heron bundle, heron habitat bundle. And this one is the die cut lighthouse. So again, in those three colours, we've added in our rays of light, a few more birds that we've pinched. We've got die cut clouds in this one and used those blobby stamps to build up our land and sea at the bottom, and a bit of blending, ink blending to add colour to the sky. So great little bundle. As I say, fabulous for creating cards for the guys. Let me just pile my stamps off of there. Yeah, and you can have great fun with it. So I hope you have enjoyed those. Look out for them in a colour challenge blog post later in the week. There's nothing like making these things work hard for themselves. Let me bring in my camera. So enjoy your week, everybody. Enjoy the rain. If you get some here in the UK, we're looking forward to it. I hope you enjoy a bit of sunshine and a bit of warmth elsewhere if you're fed up of cold and grey. Yeah, we're never happy, are we? But have a really good week, and we will be back later in the week to play with some more things. So until then, see you all soon.